All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. Apologies for no Wednesday show. Well, Petty, you might want to explain to the people what's been going on.
Our hot water heater failed. So we had to, and it wasn't the type of failure you could really bypass. It was, we had to replace it right then and there.
And the plumbing problems haven't stopped since then.
No, because I guess when we turned back on the water after we replaced the hot water heater, I guess it broke the shutoff valve for the upstairs toilet.
And that's going to continue into the week.
Yeah.
Hopefully not into Wednesday. No. Wednesday we have a guest, so we cannot skip a show. So with that in mind, we have 4 reviews up this week. The first of which is Strange Brew, a cinematic 3D platformer with intense chases to feel like a zombie movie. Run to evade, throw beans to distract, and use environmental traps to slow, smash, or zap the horde. Expect non-stop mayhem, absurd story beats, screams, laugh, as you play as a duck mascot with a coffee addiction. Right. So, calling this a
So
cinematic...
cinematic and horror, but duck mascot with a coffee addiction, and the classic horror movie skill of distracting the zombies by throwing beans.
That is what they're trying to go for in a coffee bean shell. Calling this a platformer. Okay, it's one of those, I guess technically you're correct, but it's like you're a platformer in the sense that you have jumping mechanics.
Also, whoever did these cameras should be sent off to a camp somewhere.
But Petty, that's how it's cinematic.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
I like mine better.
Because they're forcefully choosing what camera angle you view the angle from.
Yes, and they tend to be horrible.
Objectively horrible, in fact.
Yes. So here's the fun part. We actually get to interview the creators of this on Wednesday. So, there's going to be a bunch of questions in this direction.
I don't know, the camera angles look pretty cool, as long as you're not having to, like, fucking control anything.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Controlling it.
Okay, what I'm trying to humorously point at is that yes, it is a cinematic camera work to some extent, but there's a reason that you use cinematic camera angles in movies where you're just a passive observer, and have to limit it somewhat in games where you have to be able to actually see where you're going and control stuff.
I mean, there's a whole conversation to be had about this because cinematic camera angles work much better where jumping isn't a core mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or at least let you have some sort of control over the camera to position it so you're actually jumping in the right place.
Yeah. Like, this is the kind of thing that works better in action games rather than what I've seen more accurately billed as an escape game on YouTube. Because, once again, calling this a platformer, I hesitate in that direction. I mean, mainly because, like, that's not the main point, but I guess it works well enough. So outside of the camera angle, the big problem here is, what's the word? The lack of polish. Like you may have seen it in some other areas here. like when the bird has to climb some of the boxes. Sometimes it just kind of happens,
Yeah. The tutorial
regardless
mentioned
of
that
position.
some of these with the white markings are auto climbing.
Yeah. Um, it's like you auto climb regardless of positioning. Like, so it looks bad. Like in a this wasn't fully developed or not enough play testing kind of way. But the big one here is at the end where yeah, you have to like hold down the button and it doesn't quite work out a good chunk of the time. So and usually you're going to be chased by the zombie horde, so it's a bit clunky.
Oh no, to interact with things, you don't hold down a button. You literally just stand non-moving for a second.
Yeah. Once again, it kind of doesn't happen some of the time.
Right.
You know, just it's one of those things that indicates a lack of polish somewhere. You know, don't know if it was a time factor, a manpower factor, what have you. But this game displays some subtle signs of a lack of polish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what you saw in the tutorial level is basically the game. Not all of it, because there are environmental, not hazards, but triggers. Like in the first stage here, you'll be looking for electrical switches, which will, charge up the area and kill some of the zombies. And further on in the game, you'll get items that allow you to more efficiently block the zombie menace, and alternate routes where you'll find alternate costume. But outside of that, this is the game. It's not very long. Like outside the tutorial level, the 10 levels, and they're not very long. Like, honestly, outside of the aforementioned lack of polish and the intrusive cinematic angles, it's a perfectly functional game, but nothing really beyond that.
Mm.
Like, there's
Fuck this camera though.
oh right, there's also the 1968 mode, which means it turns everything black and white.
Mm.
Yeah, so it looks like Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, do we want to go about how big the file size on this monster is?
Yes. Okay, like I think nothing really demonstrates the lack of polish or optimization more than the file size, because for some reason this game is 47 gigs.
Yeah.
It had no reason to be that huge.
And like this is what 10 levels you said?
10 levels, a tutorial, graphically look at it. You know, it's not pushing any systems.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I genuinely don't know why it's that big. Like it's got no voice acting. It's got no, big, huge files, uncompressed sound,
Mm-hmm.
anything that would indicate, being that big. It has
Right.
no mega textures that haven't been compressed. AK, the reason why a lot of AAA games are hundreds of gigs. So it's a genuine mystery.
Mm-hmm.
One will hopefully unravel in a few days.
And I got pinned.
Yeah, there is a bit of leeway. Also, you have the Wing Slap, which allow you to bat away zombies.
Mm.
Doesn't work very well with Horde.
Yeah, the tutorial said like 2 to 3.
Right. So yeah, in terms of pricing, the game clocks in at $15. A little too expensive for what's on offer here.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably something that would be better priced at $10. Like, so outside of that, it's a slightly underbaked escape platforming game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it probably should have prioritized playability over being cinematic. As it's not, it's attempting to be cinematic, but honestly, the graphical style doesn't really lend itself all that well to cinematic camera angles.
Yeah. Like, hell, even if this was more of a, like, just fighting the zombie horde, that camera would be better than just trying to run.
Yeah. Outside of that, that's about all I got.
Alrighty then.
All right, so that'll about do it for Strange Brew here. Be sure to tune in after the break as Petty Fan reviews Necessi,